Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 31st of January and I welcome you all at the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper along with the background in the relevant articles and the way forward. Now, I would like to tell you that if you are joining here for the first time, you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel, and link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. Fine. Now, starting up guys, so first of all, I would like to show you overview of entire newspaper so that you can understand that which articles are actually important for our examination. So here we have the first page of the Hindu newspaper, Delhi edition. Now largely the issues on first page are political developments. Why not very much important? Modi Shah cannot understand pain of violence. Okay. Opposition seeks answers on Adani's stock fudge. So recently guys, we have seen this thing that a short seller, fine, Hindenburg report was released, which have provided that the Adanis, they have involved in accounting manipulations, they have been involved in stock prices in manipulation, they have inflated their stock prices, and all such kind of allegations have been made. Now guys, these particular allegations are being studied by the SEBI panel, fine, as well as the RBI will study this particular allegations. But now a political controversy had started where the opposition members are asking the government that government need to take this matter more seriously. However, you are not required to go and follow this entire development too much in the detail, because still they are just allegations which will be probed. Okay, so the moving on, 61 killed in suicide attack at Pakistan mosque. Okay, Gujarat court convicts Asaram Bapu of rape. Now, much important things are not there, so no need to go too much in for the exam. Channels scan stagger content of national importance across programs. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then further moving on, then coming to the regional section. So the advertisements and regional issues, 24/7 water supply, in the case of Delhi, etc. These things have been provided. So we don't need to go too much here, okay, in this particular direction. Then guys, moving on again, here, so political news, advertisements, etc. are largely given here. Okay, so moving on. Now guys, one thing I want to tell you here, that as we talk about guys the regional section, majorly in the regional section, the regional issues, political developments, crime related news, whatever they are there, they are not very much important for the examination. Fine, moving on guys, in this particular direction, again political articles have been given. And then we come to editorial section. Now first article here we can see in editorial section is talking about tasks for India's millet revolution. We'll see this particular article with respect to examination. Then side article, water woes. So we have seen recently that India has provided that India wants to renegotiate the Indus water treaty. So we'll see what the article is majorly talking about. Then further moving on, the real reason behind a political party's decline. So briefly we'll see the important message that has been given in this particular article. Then miles to go, Bharat Jodo Yatra did strike a chord exemplified in the Srinagar event. So the article is talking about Bharat Jodo Yatra of Congress and what impact is creating and all such things. Not important article for examination. Now moving on, coming the next page, a problem of science at the Padma Awards. Now guys, if we talk about this particular article, this article has given some kind of viewpoints which might not be that much relevant for exam, but still I will cover that article and will see what academic issues are there. Then further moving on, a matter of prestige for the DMK, political article, not much important for examination. Then in 2022, trial courts imposed most death sentences in 20 years. Okay, so guys, here the numbers have been given that how many death sentences have been given, how many cases of commutation, acquittals, confirmed death cases, and all such kind of things are there. Now the article is just giving the data points, so much things for explanation is not there, just you can see the data. Then further coming to text and context page, the first article is of recent wave of tech layoffs. So many of tech companies, they have issued massive layoffs. We'll see this particular thing. Okay. Then coming to next page, are wealthy individuals reporting their income and accurately filing their taxes? We'll see this particular article also with respect to examination. Supreme Court to list on February 3 to restrain Union government from censoring BBC documentary. So recently BBC released a documentary okay, which depicted the India's prime minister. Okay, now it has been banned, so the case have been raised that why you are banning this documentary. Okay, no need to follow this particular development. However, already we have seen this thing that the government has such powers that they can ban certain content from the internet, because they, under the IT rules of 2021, they have such powers. Moreover, under the IT Act, Rule 69, 69A, they have such powers. We have covered that dimension already, but you are not required to follow every day that, okay, what is happening here now, matter reached to Supreme Court, now Supreme Court. When Supreme Court will finally be coming with the verdict, okay, whenever it will be coming with the final verdict, then we'll see that thing. Till then, no need to follow for the purpose of examination. Then guys, after that, moving on in this particular direction. So here we see center to roll out process to set up 16th Finance Commission soon. We'll see this particular article, Finance Commission and all those things. Then largely other articles are political articles, so no need to go here. Then there are these tenders, etc. General Assembly divided over UN reform. So guys, recently UNGA President Saba Korosi has visited India. We'll see what this article is talking about. Okay, then after that, again political articles, etc. have been given. Okay, a police officer who shot dead Odisha minister is arrested. These things not important for exam. Then coming to world page, Blinken appeals for peace as violence soars in West Bank. So guys, recently we have seen this thing that West Bank, Israel, there are recent attacks that have been carried. Johnson says Putin made missile strike threat at him. No need to go, guys. See, when we talk about international page, understand this thing. Only those articles are important which are either talking about some which might have some implication on India's foreign policy, or might be talking about India's national interest. Fine. However, other evolutionary details are not that much important. Then moving on, business page, LIC's exposure to Adani Group is under 1%. Okay, now asset under management, AUM. AUM stands for asset under management. Now, we have seen this thing that recently when this Hindenburg report came, it has said this thing that the Adani Group had carried accounting manipulation, had manipulated the prices of their stocks, etc. Now, since then, Adani's stock prices are going down. Now, when Adani's stock prices are going down, obviously the people who have invested, they will suffer the loss because of that. Now, when we talk about, guys, the LIC. So, LIC had invested around 36,400 crore rupees in Adani Group. Okay, 36,400 crore rupees in Adani Group. And if the share prices will go down, obviously the LIC will also suffer. So it has been said that LIC's exposure is less than 1%. Okay, much value or much LIC's investments have not suffered. They are saying this thing, but you are not required to follow these numbers. Okay, then further moving on, PNB exposure to the Adani Group total $70 billion. Okay, so this is something. Now these are things. Then corporate trends, corporate profits are largely contained in this entire page. No need to go too much here. Emergency, India's to use emergency law to lift coal power output. So again, guys, what is happening? So many of the coal generators or many of the electricity generators who are importing coal from other countries, they are not increasing their output. Why? Because the imported coal has become very expensive, and because as they are not increasing output, there might be some problems because the electricity consumption that is there, okay, it is high. Moreover, as now the winters will recede and the summers will come, there will be the more demand of electricity that will be there. So power generators need to increase their output. So if they'll not do that thing, government will use the emergency powers and will force them to increase their output. For exam, guys, this article will not make much sense for the examination by the time you will read. These are the evolutionary details that are happening. Then after that, moving on, we have the sports page. Okay, so that is all about this, guys. And then see, now just in a couple of days we'll see that the budget will come. Until that time, there are many commentaries on budget that will come, that okay, budget should focus that, budget should do that, budget might do that, all these things. Now they are not important for examination, guys, because the time when budget, in 2-3 days the real budget will come and we'll see that what exactly has happened there. Okay, so that is all, guys, about it. Now moving to the, now guys, let's take all these relevant articles one by one in detail. Okay, so in every class we take a GS quote, and this quotation can be used to complement our answers in GS paper number 1, 2, 3 and 4. And today we'll take quotation from Nelson Mandela. So Nelson Mandela says, overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity. It is an act of justice. It is an act of justice. Now, guys, what do we mean by the idea of justice? Justice means give a person his or her due. Giving a person his or her due. Now, when we talk about giving a person their due, it means it means that the people, whatever the nation's resources are, whatever the nation's resources are, on those resources they have to be given their fair share. Now, people who are poor, they are not having basic dignities of life, basic amenities, basic dignities of life such as food, shelter, clothing, they don't have. Now, it is unjust. Why? Because they should be given their due in the country's resources. So, giving their due, removing their poverty is not just a charity, it is an act of justice. It is their right that they deserve. So, this is the framework under which we need to see poverty. So, this is, guys, about the quotation, and we can use this idea in GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 4 ethics. So, that is about it. And now let's take the first article. Let's take first article. Okay, so the first article we will be taking today is from the text and context section. The recent wave of tech layoffs. The recent wave of tech layoffs. Now, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3. Okay. GS paper number 3 as well as, just a minute, first of all. GS paper number 3. Within that, big tech and implications of their policy on Indian economy. Big tech and implication of their policy on Indian economy. We'll see and we'll attach it with the Indian economy as well. Okay, now, before going in this, I just wanted to show you some numbers and I just wanted to give you some of a basic background information so that you can contextualize this article a little bit more. So, from past few weeks, we have heard a lot of reports that big tech companies, okay, first of all, what do we understand by the word big tech? So, big tech means those internet or those IT companies which are the one of the biggest in terms of their market capitalizations. And here we use the terms such as Google, here companies such as Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, okay, they come in the big tech. Fine. Other companies also often are included into the big tech. Okay, for example, Meta. So these are the big tech companies. Now, if we see little bit numbers here, so first of all, guys, here just to show you the little bit numbers, I hope that this graph is visible. So in the past few months, we see this thing that the Alphabet, now by the way, Google is a company under Alphabet. So Alphabet is a parent company and Google is a subsidiary of Alphabet. So Alphabet has removed or had laid off 12,000 people, fired 12,000 people. It means 6%. 6% of the total workforce of Alphabet they have removed. Microsoft, they have fired 10,000 people. Around 5% of the Microsoft workforce have been fired. Meta, 11,000 people they have removed. Okay, so around 13% of the total workforce of the Meta has been fired. Similarly, when we talk about Amazon, 18,000 people they have fired, around 6% of their total workforce. So all these companies are going on tech layoffs. Now we need to understand that why these tech layoffs are happening and how these tech layoffs will impact Indian people in particular. First of all, if we talk about what is the impact of these tech layoffs on Indian particularly, so guys, we see this particular thing that are approximately 30 to 40% of the people, okay, there are certain reports which say that in total around 2 lakh people have been fired. So out of that, 30 to 40% people are Indian IT professional. Now, when we talk about, guys, the US, large number of Indian IT professionals are going on USA on H1B visa, or L1 visa. Now, there is a little bit of difference between the H1B visa and L1 visa. So basically, L1 visa is given to those working professionals who are working in the foreign subsidiary of a US based company. Let me explain you with the help of an example. Now suppose Google. Now when we talk about the Google is a US based company, but Google is also having its office in India also, for example in Gurugram. Suppose Mr. A was hired. Mr. A is an Indian person and he was hired by a Google and he was given the posting in Gurugram, Haryana. Okay. Now Google wants to send this Mr. A for 3-4 months to US for working on a particular project. Okay, so this Mr. A can be given a visa, short-term visa, and that visa is the L1 visa. So L1 visa is given to those workers who are working in some foreign subsidiary of a US based company. So Google is a US based company and the subsidiary of Google India, okay, fine. So it can be given. Then there comes H1B visa. Now, H1B visa is given to the high skilled professionals. Now you see this thing. Some USA company based in USA, they want to have talent for their USA branch only and they want to hire high skilled professionals. So H1B visa is given to the high skilled professional. Okay. So they will be hiring Indian people, Chinese people, South Korean people, all the people. Now, when we talk about H1B visa, it is a very big, a sizable numbers of H1B visa are given to Indians. So actually, Indians have been to US on both H1B visa and L1 visa. Now the point is that the people who have been to USA on H1B visa, fine. Now these IT professionals. So these IT professionals who were living there on H1B visa, they have been fired. Now the point is that if they continue to live in US, they need to find some other job. And if they don't find other job in the due time, then have to come back to India. If they will come back to India, there will be problems which might be there. Now guys, first of all, today when we talk about India, India is one of the world's largest recipient of foreign exchange. Okay, and lot of foreign exchange, lot of remittances are coming to India. Okay, and when we talk about the remittances, USA happens to be a big contributor of remittances. So if these IT professionals have to come back to India, they might not be able to send those remittances. Second problem that comes in this particular direction is that anyhow employment opportunities are diminished in India as per periodic labor force survey. Periodic labor force survey, unemployment is 4.2% in India. Okay, and the point is that entire tech sector is facing this particular kind of an event where they don't need people. So where they will get the new jobs? So Indians might get impacted a lot. Is it clear or not? So this is one issue that had happened. Now, when we talk about this entire trend where big tech companies are firing people, here we see this particular thing that the Apple happens to be an outlier. Apple happens to be an outlier. Apple had not carried a lot of people have not been fired. The reason is this, that actually Apple was a little bit more careful during the time of pandemic. Let's understand this particular point a little bit more. Now, for that, you need to understand that what are the reasons that the companies are firing these tech professionals. Number one, guys, is that, see, when COVID pandemic started in 2020, at that point of a time, now COVID pandemic was a big systemic shift that happened in the way work is done. Remote working, work from home started. Okay, people started to spend more time on internet. People started to consume e-commerce. E-commerce boosted, edutech boosted, everything boosted during the time of COVID-19, which was enabled by internet. So what happened? The tech companies thought that this is going to be new normal. Work from home will be new normal. Remote learning will be new normal. E-commerce will be new normal. This is new normal. And for that thing, they hired more and more people during the time of pandemic. But what has happened post pandemic, we have seen that people are again returning to offline. They are going to offline shopping. They are spending less time on internet now. Learning is happening through offline. So what has happened during the time of COVID-19 pandemic, a hiring spree started. Okay, large many people were hired. For example, if I give you the example of Amazon, so Amazon had around 7,98,000 workforce in 2019, and in 2020 they increased their workforce to around 15 lakh 44,000. Now obviously you don't need to remember these numbers, but just I want to show here that they doubled their workforce because they thought that the COVID-19 had brought a lot of growth and this growth is going to be new normal. But then we saw this thing that after COVID-19 has went down, people are now going back to more offline modes and all such kind of things, and now these companies are saying that we are doing downsizing, we are doing downsizing. This is one thing that has happened. Okay, so therefore they are removing the people. Then next issue guys that we see that over the past 2 years, okay, once the COVID-19 pandemic started to dip, we have seen this thing that the tech companies stocks have also not performed very good, their revenues are going down. For example, if we talk about the Alphabet, the parent company under which Google comes, Alphabet's shares have fallen by around 30% in just past 1 year. There is an overall decline in IT sector. 24% decline is there in the tech industry. And as there is a decline, their profits are going down. They are moving towards cost optimization. They are moving towards cost optimization. Cost optimization means they are reducing their cost, and therefore now they are becoming more prudent, fine, and they are removing the excess workforce that they have hired. Moreover, if we talk about guys Meta, okay, just if I show you the data, find here. Okay, so here if we see the data, here we can see that the Meta has removed so many people. Around 11,000 workforce has been cut down by Meta. 13% of their workforce has been cut down by Meta. So Meta is doing this particular thing guys because if you remember, few months back Meta come out with the metaverse, which was a kind of a virtual universe that Meta created. Okay, now the investments that Meta has made in the metaverse, it has not paid back, and up till now metaverse is not a very big success. So because they have invested a lot of money, now they are facing the revenue, now they are facing the cash crunch, and therefore for cost optimization they are laying off the people. If we see guys, most of the companies, fine, they have invested a lot on artificial intelligence driven technology also. Okay, and because of that thing also there is the revenue crunch, cash crunch with these companies, and they are firing the people. Okay, moreover there is one more issue that I want to tell you guys here, though not mentioned in the article but very important. See, we have seen this thing that recently Apple also changed their privacy policy, and as per the new privacy policy of the Apple gives an option to the users that if they want, they might not allow the applications to track their activity. Now you see this thing that you take example of Google, you take example of Facebook, etc. What is the major source of their revenue? Major source of their revenue is through advertisement. What they do, they track your activity, and on the basis of your activity they make your psychological profile and then show the targeted ad to the people. Now when Apple users will not allow applications to track the activity, how then they will be able to show the targeted ads? Because of that particular thing, the revenues of Facebook Meta are going down, and because of that thing now they need to go for even more cost optimization and they are firing people. So this is reason. Then guys, another reason that we see this particular thing, what had happened, Russia Ukraine war started. Russia-Ukraine war started, and as Russia-Ukraine war started, since then economic prospects have not been very much good. Okay, after Russia-Ukraine war, we have seen this particular thing that economic prospects are not good. Economic prospects are not good. Moreover, post-pandemic, we also see this particular thing that inflation has increased so much high. Okay, and as inflation is increasing, now what governments are doing, for example, what the central banks are doing, for example, Federal Reserve of USA, which is USA's central bank, now they are tightening the interest rates. Now they are increasing the interest rates. Now understand this thing that whenever you increase interest rate, whenever you try to control inflation, growth will be impacted. So anyhow, for that reason also growth is getting impacted. Then guys, there is also one more reason. One more reason is that investors are putting a lot of pressure. Now guys, you see this particular thing, the people who have invested, they are putting a lot of pressures on these companies that you need to be prudent, you need to save the cost, and therefore these companies are going for these particular kind of steps. So these are all the reasons that why tech sector is laying off people and how it will impact India. So guys, it will impact India because when we talk about India guys, uh, we know this particular thing, that more than 60% of India's GDP is driven, more than 60% of India's GDP is driven by the service sector. And when we talk about the service sector, IT enabled sector, IT enabled sector is a major constituent of the service sector. Now today, if we see that the big tech is facing a kind of a slump, then India's IT sector automatically is going to get impacted. One thing, foreign remittances that were coming in India, it will not come. If it will not come, anyhow, our because of that particular thing, our current account deficit will go in a bad shape. Is it clear or not? So these are all the reasons, these are all the issues that have been there. So I hope, guys, that you have understood it. And now we'll move to next article. Okay, so this is the article. Are wealthy individuals reporting their income accurately? Are wealthy individuals reporting their income and accurately filing their taxes? Okay, so this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, issues related to the taxation policies. Okay, now I hope that the things are going good till now. Now let's take this particular article. Before going in this article, guys, we'll see background first, and after understanding the background, then we'll go in this article. Okay, now let's see this background. Okay, so first of all, guys, I try to understand this particular thing, that whenever we talk about the taxations, taxation has multiple purposes, that why tax is imposed. Number one, the revenue that will come by the taxes, that revenue will be spent in developmental activity. Okay, number one. Number two, taxation is also important to reduce inequality. It is also important to reduce inequality. How? Suppose there is Mr. A and Mr. B. Mr. A is, let's say, earning 10,000 rupees. Okay, Mr. B is, let's say, earning 1,000 rupees. Now, if we talk about Mr. A and Mr. B, between them there is a lot of disparity. Mr. A is making 9,000 rupees more than Mr. B. So we can see that there is inequality worth rupees 9,000 between A and B. Okay. Now I am giving you very simple explanation, very crude explanation, so that you can understand this entire topic. Okay. Now what we introduce in between, we tax their incomes. Okay. Now usually, guys, in the development, in the welfareist democracies, okay, we use progressive taxation. What is progressive taxation? It means that as your income will increase, the percentage of tax that is being imposed, that will also increase. For example, let's say if you are earning up till 1,000 rupees, you will be taxed at 10%. You earn 5,000 rupees, 10,000 to 5,000 rupees. Above 10,000 until 5,000, let's say, taxes 20%. And when you earn above 5,000, let's say the tax is 30%. So suppose, now this is the tax rate. So obviously on B's income, 10% income tax will be charged. On A's income, 30% income tax will be charged. Now what is the income that they will have after taxation? So 10% of 1,000 means 100 rupees. So Mr. B will have 900 rupees post taxation. Mr. A, 30% tax. So 10,000 rupees, 30% means 3,000 rupees. So he will have, a minute. So here we see this thing, that the Mr. A will have 7,000 rupees post taxation. 7,000 rupees post taxation. Now if we see the difference between the A's income and B's income, now the differential amount is just 6,100 rupees. Here it was 9,000 rupees and here it's 6,100 rupees. So in a way, now the money that government collected, now it will be distributed on all. For example, the government will use that money for providing better infrastructure, for providing better health, for providing better sanitation. Now obviously that better health, sanitation will be used by everyone. So that money will then be spent equally. So point is that taxation is important for carrying developmental activity. Taxation is also important to reduce inequality in society. Okay, as we can see here. Okay, this is one reason. Now when we talk about, guys, India, first of all, let me give you some data on inequality. Let me give you some data on inequality, and then we'll try to understand this particular issue a little bit more. So according to Oxfam report, richest 1% people in India, they own 40% of the total wealth. 40% of the country's total wealth. And when we talk about the bottom 50%, poor bottom 50% people, they have just 3% of total wealth of the country. So inequality is huge. Inequality is huge. And we have already seen that a proven way to reduce inequality is through taxation, through progressive taxation. And India also, we use progressive taxation. But this progressive taxation is not working very effectively in India. Inequality is not going down. We have seen that every successive year inequality increases. Now why this reason is, why this is happening here? So basically one reason can be that the wealthy individuals, the people who have more money, people who have more property, what they are doing, they are not paying proper income tax. They are not paying proper income tax. This is the reason that inequality is increasing every day. Now, to study this particular issue, recently a research paper has been published. Research paper has been published. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that if you are preparing for UPSC examinations, you don't need to go too much in the detail in these research paper, the methodology they have used and all those kind of things. No need to go too much in detail in that. Now, what this particular research paper provides? Okay, now, first of all, the research paper has been published by Mr. Ram Singh, and he shows a relationship between the wealth and reported income for the individual from different economic stratas. Okay, the wealth that they are having, and in comparison to the wealth, income that they are reporting. Okay, the wealth you are having, and in comparison to that income you are reporting, this particular relationship has been seen. Now the poor people, rich people, everybody's data have been analyzed. Now what they provide in this research paper? Okay, so here, guys, it has been provided that wealthier the individual or the family, you have more wealth. Now, guys, your wealth will be seen in terms of the asset that you are holding, property you are having, the value of your house, the value of your cars, the value of the gold that you are having. So the wealth is seen in terms of the accumulated worth that you have got. Okay, land, property, gold, jewelry. This is the way by which we measure your wealth. So if an individual is wealthier, the lesser is the reported income relative to their wealth. The lesser is their income relative to their wealth. Suppose you have a wealth of 1000 crore rupees. You have a wealth of 1000 crore rupees. Now, comparison to this 1000 crore rupees wealth, the income that they will report, it is very, very less. Now, let me explain this particular thing in even little bit more detail. So, first of all, according to this research paper by Mr. Ram, it finds this thing, that total income reported by the bottom 10% of the families amounted to more than 188% of their wealth. Okay, now let me explain you this particular thing with some simple numbers, simple words, so that you can understand that what they are actually trying to explain. Now, guys, suppose I am a person who comes from a very modest family. My family doesn't have too much of property, too much of wealth. And suppose I got recently a job. Okay. And suppose I am earning 10 lakh rupees in this job per year. I am earning 10 lakh rupees in this job per year. Okay. Now, let's say I am taking just a hypothetical number. I'm not going in such much of technicality. Suppose on this 10 lakh rupees income, 10% income tax is being charged. And let's say, again, I'm not going too much into the fine dimensions. Suppose on 10 lakh rupees income, I'm paying 10% income tax. Let's say I'm paying 1 lakh rupees of income tax every year. Now, if you see my wealth, I don't own any house. I don't own any farm, land, nothing I own. Okay. Suppose I have only one wealth. What wealth I have? I have one gold jewelry. I have one gold jewelry, and let's say that the value of this gold jewelry is, let's say, just 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees. So if you see my wealth is 10,000 rupees and the income tax that I'm paying is 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh rupees. So we can see this particular thing that it is around 9 to 10 times more, 9 to 10 times more. Okay, what wealth I'm having and what income tax I'm paying. This is the comparison. If I take, let's say, take the comparison of some rich person, let's say having 1000 crore rupees of wealth. He has land, he has houses, he has other kind of property, 1000 crore rupees of wealth. Now he might be paying some income tax. He might be paying some income tax. Let's say this particular person is paying the income tax of, let's say, 100 crore rupees. 100 crore rupees income tax. So if you compare his income tax with his wealth, his income tax is just 10% of his wealth. 10% of his wealth. And let's say even 100 crore rupees is a very big number. Usually it will not be paid. Let's say this particular person is just paying 10 crores of income tax. Now compare 10 crore with 1000 crore rupees. Is it clear or not? Okay, so just 1%. Okay, 1% or something like that only. Okay, so we find this particular thing that when we compare the data, we find this thing that total income reported by the bottom 10%, total income that is being reported by the bottom 10% amounted to more than 188% of their wealth. Okay, now earlier example I compared the taxes, but if you just see the income, this data will fizzle out even more. And when we talk about the wealthiest people, when we talk about the wealthiest 5% people, top 5% people, or wealthiest 0.1% of the families, whatever their income is, it is just 4% or it is just 2% of their total wealth. This is one issue. Now this research paper explains that actually why this is happening. Now you see this particular thing that the wealthier groups, wealthier people, they have most of their wealth in the form of equity shares, non-agricultural land, commercial properties. Moreover, rich people, wealthy people, they don't draw cash salary as much. Is it clear or not? Now guys, if you see, if I can provide you this particular thing that many wealthy people, whatever remuneration they're drawing as a salary, it might be less than what salary is being paid to some other top executives. Understand this thing. Rich people, what they do, they draw their remuneration in the form of equity, in the form of share. Okay, for example, if today we talk about the Mr. Adani's, Mr. Ambani's, their salary will be marginal, but substantial remuneration will come. They will take shares of Adani, they will take shares of Reliance if they are the Ambani's. What happens when they have withdrawn remuneration in the form of equity? Understand this particular thing. Then a concept of capital gain tax applies. Capital gain tax applies. Now equity is your property. Okay, immediate, now you have been given, let's say, 10 crore rupees of share. So we don't consider that 10 crore rupees as your income now. When you will sell that equity, when you will sell that share, then you will accrue some income, and on that income will then the money will be charged. So what these richest people are doing, okay, they are not withdrawing cash, they are taking equity out of their companies whenever they are making some remuneration, and it is neither taxable immediately nor it is required to be reported in the ITR immediately. So over the years there will be the appreciation in that particular asset that will happen. Now what they are doing over the period of times, they are increasing their wealth every year. Okay, but they are not actually selling those equities, so their wealth have blotted. They have the wealth of, let's say, thousands and thousands of crore rupees, but they are not paying much of the effective taxes. So this is, guys, this entire issue, that how these people are not reporting properly their income and how they are not contributing that much in the taxation amount. Okay, guys, even if you see many number of times, recently there was a news that Akshay Kumar had paid the highest income tax. So Akshay Kumar's income tax is higher than the taxes that Ambani's, Adani's are paying. How? Okay, do you think that Akshay Kumar earns more money than Ambani's and Adani's? No. But Ambani's and Adani's, what they are doing, they are not drawing the salary or the cash remuneration fine for the role that they are playing. They take equities, they take share, and they don't sell that share. So actually, they are not paying that taxes immediately. So this is, guys, all about this particular concept, and I hope that you have understood it. Guys, is it clear or not? Please write in the comment box. Okay. Now, moving to next article. General Assembly divided over United Nation reforms. General Assembly divided over United Nation reforms. Okay, guys, is it clear or not? Please write in the comment box. Guys, it's too bad. You expect that, fine, see, I'm standing here taking the classes, spending so much time, and you are too lazy to even write in the comment box. Not very good. Chalo, moving on. General Assembly divided over United Nation reforms. So, what this particular article is all about? Okay, so basically, guys, what has happened? So, now the United Nations General Assembly's president Saba Korosi has arrived in India, and as he had arrived in India, he is talking about the United Nation UN reforms, fine UNGA reforms, UNSC reforms, and all such kind of things. So we will come on this part as what he has talked about. But before that, let's discuss this particular issue little bit more first. Now, when we talk about, guys, United Nations, first of all, United Nation, we know this thing that it is a multilateral arrangement, international organization that was established post World War, after World War II, that is in 1945, to promote the peace, security, and cooperation among the countries. But over the years, it has been pointed again and again that United Nation has become unrepresentative. United Nation has become undemocratic. It has been said that United Nation is not representing many of the problems that are there, and it is not even eager to solve these problems. Okay, now, first of all, what are reforms that are actually required in United Nations? So I have provided this entire in the form of a table. Let's try to understand it. First of all, there is the need of reforming United Nations Security Council. Now, when we talk about United Nations Security Council, in UNSC, there are total 15 members, 10 are non-permanent member and 5 are permanent member. And these 5 permanent member have a veto. Any decision, if it has to be passed, these 5 permanent member have to give their approval in this. Now, point that coming here is that when we talk about the United Nations Security Council, permanent 5 member, it's US, permanent 5 members, US, UK, Russia, China, and France. These are the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. Here we see this particular thing that Africa is not represented. Africa is not represented. Latin America is not represented. Asia is underrepresented. Okay, so point is that we need to reform this United Nations Security Council. We need to give more permanent seats to the countries of Africa, Latin America, and in Asia. India should be given a contender. India should be given the seat. Okay, this is something. Now, the next issue that comes here is with respect to the peacekeeping operations. Now, guys, when we talk about the US peacekeeping forces, we have seen this particular thing that we need to improve effectiveness and efficiency of the UN peacekeeping operations. Many number of times, UN peacekeeping operations, they are not able to bring credible peace. Moreover, countries which are not able to give the financial contribution, such as the developing countries, they have to send more of their peacekeeping personnels. We need to change this particular thing also. Management. It has been provided that the United Nations operations, organization structure, management has become inefficient. Much productivity is not there in management. Even many number of times the human rights that have been violated. United Nations machinery has not been effective in conservating the human rights, particularly the refugee rights. We have seen this thing. So Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights, okay, we need to reform them. And then United Nations, the focus on developmental activities has been less, and there is a demand that a specialized organization for focusing on development needs to be created. So therefore, there is a demand for creation of a new developmental body, that is the United Nations Development System. So these are largely the demands that have been made. Now, guys, okay, one more thing, that all these content that we are seeing here not provided in the article. So therefore, please download this PDF. Now, as we talk about the United Nations, understand this particular thing, guys. If you need to bring any change in United Nations structure, you need to amend the UN Charter. You need to amend UN Charter. And UN Charter can only be amended when two-thirds of the members, two-thirds of the members approve that and ratify that change. So right now we have 193 members. So out of 193, at least 128 members need to agree and need to approve, need to ratify if any change is to be brought. And specifically if a change is being brought in the structure of UNSC, for example, United Nations Security Council, we need to increase the number of permanent members. So there, along with the UNGA approval, all the 5 members, all the P5, permanent 5 member, they also need to give their consent. So P5 has a veto here. Okay. So point is that we find this thing that actually there is a very high threshold to bring any change. And will that change ever be coming? This is a very big speculation that's there. Now I have told you that United Nations General Assembly President Saba Korosi had visited in India, and he has provided this particular thing, that whenever we talk about the United Nations reforms, every country talks about United Nations reforms, but no country is actually willing to bring, particularly the countries who already have much representations, they will not bring any reforms. He even said there is a lot of divisions in United Nations. For example, it has been said that first of all, permanent members, P5 members, they are historically they were not enthusiastic about reforms of the United Nations system. Moreover, it has also been provided that today General Assembly has been very much divided. There are 5 negotiating group. There is a G4 grouping, there is a coffee club, there is elders club that is there. So there are 5 negotiating groups and they are neutralizing each other. They are opposing each other. So point is that consensus building is very much weak in United Nations. And because of that particular thing, the veto system in UNSC is a 77-year-old. Up till now, no reform has come. And it's actually very much difficult to bring such kind of reforms. Moreover, if you remember, we have also covered it in our newspaper analysis that recently India led the Voice of Global South Summit. And in that Voice of Global South Summit, India has very clearly provided that we intended to be the leader of the developing world, and all the concerns of the developing world that are not being addressed will be put forward by India, including reforms in United Nations. So India can be a leader here. India can be a leader here in this particular direction. Okay, so that is all guys about this particular thing. Okay, sir, it would be helpful if you could provide us with the articles to be read in the Hindu prior to the class. So Karthi, I share the PDF usually before the class only, so please read that and then you can come. Okay, clear sir, clear. What are the way forward to improve the inequality of the wealth? Okay, inequality of the wealth can only be improved by bringing better taxation regulations, by decentralizing, or by ensuring that whatever the avenues are, wherever wealthy people are getting more benefits, we need to reduce it. But actually if I tell you, this is highly improbable that this inequality is going to go down, because the people largely they are not going to compromise their vested interest. Okay, then the next article, center to roll out process to set up 16th Finance Commission soon. Okay, now this particular article guys will see with respect to polity GS paper number 2. Okay, now actually here we will be taking first of all in briefly we will take first of all what is the Finance Commission all about, related basic details will take. Okay, and then we be moving. Okay, now first of all guys, when we talk about Finance Commission, so Finance Commission is a body, constitutional body, or that is constituted under article number 280 of the Indian Constitution. And under article 280, President of India is empowered to constitute a Finance Commission at every 5 year. And this Finance Commission's purpose will be to give recommendation as how the tax revenues are to be divided between the union and between the states. Okay, so whatever the taxes are being received, okay, how it is to be divided between the union and between the states. For example, right now 15th finance commission's tenure is going on. Before that, 14th Finance Commission's tenure was there. So 14th Finance Commission recommended 42% of the total taxes that are being collected by the government total out of the total taxes that is being collected by the union government, 42% is to be given to the state government. 15th Finance Commission recommended that 41% of the taxes should be given to the state government. Why it reduced by 1%, guys? It is because in meantime Jammu and Kashmir was created as a union territory. So as Jammu and Kashmir created in a union territory, and central government has a responsibility of giving financial revenue to union territory, so therefore this 1% got reduced. So how much percentage money should go to the state government? How much grants should go to the state government? What should be the revenue sharing formula between the state and the center? All these particular things are suggested by the Finance Commission. Now, when we talk about Finance Commission, usually it has one chairman and 4 other member. Okay. Then basically, as we talk about the recommendations, Finance Commission give recommendations of revenue sharing on certain parameters, which are usually population, revenue generation capacity of that state, needs of that state. Apart from that, other criterias can also be taken. For example, we have seen this thing that 15th and 14th Finance Commission, they have also talked about the conservation, forest conservation that the states have done. So other criterias can also come. These are normally the criterias that are taken. And whether the recommendation of Finance Commission is binding or not, so no, recommendation of Finance Commission are not binding. They are not binding, but usually they are accepted. Usually they are accepted and implemented by the government. Now, why this particular article has come in the news? So center to roll out process to set up the 16th Finance Commission soon. Okay, so right now I have told you that 15th Finance Commission's tenure is going on, and now government will be deciding the constitution of 16th Finance Commission. Now guys, understand this thing, that when we talk about the 15th Finance Commission, it was set up in 2017 and its recommendations were to be given for 2020 to 2025. 2020 to 2025, for these 5 years, the 15th Finance Commission had to give recommendation. But what happened? Actually, 15th Finance Commission's tenure was extended by 1 year till 2026. So usually a Finance Commission's tenure is 5 years. Usually a Finance Commission, the tenure is 5 years. But for this 15th Finance Commission, we gave it an extension of 1 year. Between, guys, you saw this thing that in 2020 pandemic came, and as pandemic came, a lot of financial dynamics got changed. So therefore it presented report for 1 year, and then it presented report for 5 years. So total it presented report for 6 years. So 15 Finance Commissions recommendations will prevail till 25-26, and post 25-26, new Finance Commission's recommendations have to got implemented. That is 16th Finance Commission's recommendation had to get implemented. So it is now 2023 we need to constitute it, so that in next 2-3 years they can prepare their report, they can study, they can give their report to the government, and government can implement it from 2026. So now 16th Finance Commission will be constituted. So government had said that we'll do it soon. Now understand this particular thing, guys. Before that also, the Finance Commission was given an extension, that is in 1987. So in 1987, the ninth Finance Commission was also given an extension, okay, of 1 year. So it also gave its recommendations prevailed for 6 years. So that is all, guys, about it. So I hope that you have understood it. Okay. So if we see the article, it just provides that now the center will constitute 16th Finance Commission. But as these things are going on, you guys also need to know some of the basics which are important for exam. Now moving on to the next article. Okay, so this article we have taken from editorial section, water vows. Okay, and we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, bilateral treaties of India, international relation. This article will be seen with respect to the GS paper number 2, bilateral relations, international relations. Okay, now before going on this particular article, guys, first of all, if you remember, we have discussed this particular article just a couple of days back. Now, first of all, let's revise the basics and then we'll move in this particular article. Okay, now. Okay, first of all, guys, when we talk about India and Pakistan, so there are Indus river systems, rivers that are being shared between India and Pakistan. Many of the rivers are passing from India to Pakistan, and as they are transcending from India to Pakistan, their water will be shared by India and Pakistan. How much water will be given to India, how much water will be given to Pakistan? For that particular matter, we have signed a treaty, that is Indus Water Treaty. This Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960 between India and Pakistan. And as per this Indus Water Treaty, it has been provided that Ravi, Beas and Satluj, these three rivers, the water of these three rivers can be used by India. And other three rivers, that is Indus itself, Jhelum and Chenab. These three rivers water can be used by Pakistan. Now understand, this is the water usage for consumptive purpose. What do we mean by consumptive purpose? For drinking, for using in your agricultural field, or diverting that water for developmental activities. Okay, so this is the consumptive purpose. So Ravi, Beas and Satluj water India can use for consumptive purpose, and Indus, Jhelum and Chenab's water Pakistan can use for consumptive purpose. But under Indus Water Treaty, there was one particular provision, and as per this provision, it was provided that even the three rivers that are with Pakistan, Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, India can use these river water for non-consumptive purpose. For non-consumptive purpose. What is non-consumptive purpose? Fine. Non-consumptive purpose. For example, guys, let's say this is a river that is going on. Okay. Now, suppose this is a river. Now, this river is going like this. There is a slope. There is a river, then the water is falling, and then there is a river is going like. Here, what we can do? We can develop a hydropower plant. What we are doing? Water is falling by gravity. We are just tapping this energy and we are using that energy to create hydropower. Actually, we are not storing that water. We are not diverting that water. Not storing that water. So we call it as run of the river projects. ROR. Run of river projects. So these projects can be constructed by India even on the Indus, Jhelum and Chenab rivers. Only one condition: India will not divert that water. India will not store that water, but India can use this water. Fine, for such kind of a ROR, run of the river project. Okay, good. Now, under Indus Water Treaty, if there is any dispute between India and Pakistan, then there is a three-tiered structure that's provided. Number one, there is a permanent Indus Commission. Now, permanent Indus Commission has members of both India and Pakistan. Okay, and permanent Indus Commission will look in the dispute if there is some between India and Pakistan. Number two, there is a neutral member board, neutral expert, which can be constituted by the World Bank. Now understand this thing. As we talk about Indus Water Treaty, it was brokered by the World Bank. So World Bank can constitute a neutral body which will try to resolve dispute between India and Pakistan. And third, then they can approach the court. That is Permanent Court of Arbitration at Hague. So Permanent Court of Arbitration Hague, either party can approach. Now, over the years, guys, there are certain disputes that have come between India and Pakistan. Now, if you see this particular map, guys, here number 1 and number 2. So these are the two river projects. So basically, guys, there is this Ratle Dam that is constructed on Chenab River, and then there is this Kishan Ganga Dam. I have provided in your notes also, don't worry. So Kishan Ganga Dam, it is constructed on the river Indus. Okay, sorry, my bad. It's constructed on the river Jhelum. Okay, so fine. So what if you see both Chenab and Jhelum, belong to Pakistan under Indus Water Treaty. But if we want, we can construct the projects on these rivers, but we cannot consume this water. So we have constructed the Kishan Ganga Dam and Ratle Dam. Kishan Ganga Dam and Ratle Dam. Now, if I just show you here, so basically, guys, when we talk about the Kishan Ganga Dam, it is on Jhelum River. Okay, it is a 330 megawatt project. We are generating 330 megawatt of electricity out of this. And Ratle, it is a 850 megawatt hydroelectric project that we have developed on the Chenab. Now Pakistan disputes the construction of Kishan Ganga Dam as well as the Ratle Dam. Pakistan says that no, India cannot do this thing. Now we say that we can do this thing because under Indus Water Treaty, it has been provided that there is a fair water usage. Okay, and under fair water usage, we can do that particular thing. So obviously what has happened, a dispute has emerged between India and Pakistan. A dispute has emerged. So if this dispute has come, I have told you that there will be a three-tiered system. Number one, you approach the Permanent Indus Commission. Number two, you approach a neutral body constituted by World Bank. And number three, then you go to the Permanent Court of Arbitration, Hague. Permanent Court of Arbitration, Hague. Now, India says this thing that first we should exploit this. If dispute is not solved, then we go to two. And here, if it is dispute not solved, then we go to the Permanent Court of Arbitration, Hague. So, point is that preceding options should be explored fully before going to the third one. Now, what has happened? We see this particular thing that the Pakistan has developed a kind of what you can say. The Pakistan has become adamant, and what Pakistan is doing? Pakistan directly is approaching the Permanent Court of Arbitration without exploring the other two possibilities, and this has really irritated now India. And India says that Pakistan deliberately is trying to create these problems and directly approaching to the Hague. So India now suggested this particular thing that what we need to do, we need to open up. Now India says that this thing has hit a dead end, and we need to open entire treaty. We need to open entire treaty for amendment and negotiations. We want to add a clause in this treaty that if you want to approach the Permanent Court of Arbitration, you can do that particular thing only if you have explored the earlier options first. This is something that has been provided. Okay. Now guys, the basic details I have provided you here in this particular agreement, but there is one issue that's coming. Now this article is saying that it is actually not very much wise to reopen entire treaty for a discussion. Why? Because number one, when in 1960 the Indus Water Treaty was opened up, it got finalized after one entire decade. So for 10 years it got discussed, that in 1960 it got finalized. Okay, one thing. Then guys, the second thing that is coming here is that when we talk about this Indus Water Treaty, it has often been called as one of the world's most successful bilateral arrangement between two countries. Okay, now there are mechanisms for coordination, dispute resolution that have held this particular treaty in force for more than 60 years. The point is that if we see today, the condition between India and Pakistan relation is not that much good. The point is that we are not able to agree on one provision. How we can expect that entire treaty you will reopen for negotiations and India and Pakistan will agree? Whatever remaining arrangement we have between India and Pakistan for sharing of the river water, even that remaining agreement will collapse. So point is that rather than going on for reopening entire treaty for renegotiation, we need to see that how this particular matter can be resolved. Okay. Now, guys, we see this particular thing that India and Pakistan, if you see, now this Ratle and Kishan Ganga dam issue that's there, it has not been resolved in last 16 years. So this matter is pending, this dispute is pending for last 16 years. So when we are not able to solve one dispute in 16 years, how will we be able to renegotiate entire treaty? So the point is that it will open up a Pandora box. So rather than going in this particular thing, we need to find the ways that how present treaty can be made more effective. Okay, so this is all about this article. Now guys, moving to next article. So this is an editorial article, Task for India's Millet Revolution. This article will see with respect to GS paper number 3, food security. GS paper number 3, food security. Issues related to hunger. Issues related to hunger are mentioned in GS paper number 2 as well. So 1 and 2 will see this thing. Now, India's millet revolution. India's millet revolution. Now, first of all, guys, as we talk about India's millet revolution, okay, first of all, certain things I want to tell you here, that now as 2023 is there, so 2023 is being observed as International Year for Millets. Just a minute. Yes, so here we see this thing that 2023 is being observed as International Year of Millets. So according to Food and Agricultural Organization, this decision has been taken. Now, when we talk about celebrating 2023 as International Year of Millets, it was largely because of the proposal that India had put forward. When we talk about millets, guys, millets include many crops. For example, kutku, bajra, ragi, sorghum, all these will come in millet. When we talk about millet have a lot of nutrition compared with the cereals such as the rye and wheat. The millets, they have special nutritive property. They have high protein, they have high dietary fiber, they have more micronutrients. When we talk about, guys, what is a balanced diet? A balanced diet is one which contains the three most important macronutrients, that is protein, carbohydrate and fat, and 23 micronutrients which includes many of the vitamins, minerals, etc. So when we talk about the millets have maximum micronutrients. It has good fiber content, good protein content, good carbohydrate content. Then they also have antioxidants which are important for removing the free radicals in the body. Now these crops also have special agronomic characteristics. Agronomic means they are resistant to drought, they are resistant to moisture changes, climatic changes. They are hardy kind of crops. Okay, so therefore they are suitable for semi-arid region. They are drought resistant. Because of this particular thing, the millets are very beneficial for the health and we need to promote it. Now understand this thing, even in the context of India, we have become very much cereal centric. Lot of consumption is of cereals. Okay, now moving on in this particular direction. So the article talks about the experiences of Swaminathan Research Foundation. Swaminathan Research Foundation, and this Swaminathan Research Foundation will be referred to as MSSRF in the short form in this particular article. So Swaminathan Research Foundation, what it has done, it has actually conserved the millet biodiversity, had improved the production of millet, consumption of millets in the Koli Hills of Tamil Nadu. In Koli Hills of Tamil Nadu. And in this article, we'll see the case study of Koli Hills and how the case study of Koli Hills can be replicated throughout India. That's something we are going to discuss in this particular article. Now, first of all, guys, when we talk about millets, millets are not a preferred crop. Millets are not a preferred type of crop at the union level. If you see this particular thing, guys, now, first of all, when we talk about government maintains the buffer food stock. Government maintains buffer food stock. Now, as we talk about this buffer food stock, government maintains some amount of food. For example, yes, 33 million tons of rice are being maintained by the government in their central pool. 31 million of wheat government is having in their central pool. Now, if you might already be knowing that government is giving highly subsidized food grain to people under National Food Security Act through the public distribution shops, through the ration shops, through the fair price shops. So obviously, if government has to give food through the public distribution system, government need to have some food at the back end. So here we have central pool, 33 million rice are there, 31 million wheat are there, but these millets, which are now renamed as nutri cereals, only 4 lakh tons of nutri cereals are there in the central pool. So point is that, first of all, government is not procuring these millets. Because government is not procuring, farmer is not assured that he will get some guaranteed income. Because of that, the farmer is also not producing. So farmer not producing, government not procuring, and people then are not eating. This is one very big problem. So the real problems of the millets in India are, number one, there is a decline. There is a decline in the area under millet cultivation. There is a low productivity of the millets. Okay, all these particular problems. Now, how in Koli Hills in Tamil Nadu, they have brought a change. So basically, the millet project in Koli Hills, which was driven by the Swaminathan Foundation, they provide this particular thing that they had three objectives. Number one, to preserve crop diversity. Within millets, we have many diversities. Okay, we need to protect the crop diversity to increase the production of the millets. And the third is to enhance the farmer income. If farmer will get more income by selling the millet, farmer will prefer millet, farmer will grow more millets. Okay, this is one issue. Now, when we talk about Koli Hills, when we talk about Koli Hills, so we see this particular thing that the Koli Hills, they have distinct geographic and agroecological. Now, they are a distinct geographic and agroecological region in the Eastern Ghats. And here we see this thing that over the years, there is a lot of decline in millet cultivation that has happened. A lot of decline in millet cultivation that has happened. And today farmers are moving towards those crops on which there is a higher MSP, the crops which have higher profitability, the crops where productivity is higher. So they are moving towards that crops. Now these crops are tapioca, pineapple, coffee, pepper. They are moving towards them. Now when we talk about millet, usually millets are not preferred by farmers. Why? Number one, processing of millets is a time consuming and laborious task. So once you have a harvested millet, then you need to process them, okay, to retrieve the grain, out of those sheaves. You need to process it. It takes a lot of time. Okay, so basically now the Swaminathan project, it focused on multiple areas. Number one, what happened here? The Swaminathan Foundation, they focused on developing improved variety of seeds, improved agronomic practices. Better knowledge was given to farmers, better seeds were given to farmers, so that the yield of the crop can be enhanced. But at the same time, the native species, native breeds of the plants that were there, they were also preserved. So community seed banks were designed, they were constructed to conserve, restore, revive, and to strengthen the local seed systems. So by that, what happened? Productivity increased, per hectare yield increased. Then next thing what they have done, they have also developed the post harvest machinery. Now I told you that retrieving grain out of the harvest was a laborious task. So they have given them machineries by which procuring the milling, etc., fine, it can be reduced. Fine. And then what they have done, they have also established Koli Hills Agro Biodiversity Conservers Federation. Now this particular organization has specifically helped in training the farmers, had helped in capacity building of the farmers, and now they are making more money out of millets. Okay, so this particular thing has resulted in improved seed varieties, improved agronomic practices, okay, significant improvements in the incomes of the farmers. All these things have started. So therefore, now it's showing improvement, and the Koli model of Tamil Nadu can be implemented throughout the country, and by that millet production can be enhanced, millet consumption can be enhanced. See, if government has to give millets in PDS, government need to have first of all sufficient stock of millets, and to have sufficient stocks, there needs to be the sufficient production. So all these things can be resolved by this intervention. Okay. That is all, guys, about this particular thing. Now here if we see the government of India, government of Karnataka, Odisha, okay, they have initiated millet mission. Okay, they are promoting the millet, but this is not just the thing. We need to move beyond it, and some real credible interventions are to be done. So that is all, guys, about this article. Now moving to next article. Okay, so I hope, guys, that the article is clear. Okay, sir, I am a beginner. Can you suggest me from where I need to start? Dear, if you are a beginner, first of all, and the most important thing, go through the syllabus. And secondly, work on your basics. And for basics, the best thing is to go through NCRTs. Okay. Now the real reason behind a political party's decline. Okay. Any other doubts? Good morning, clear. Sir, it was amazing meeting you yesterday. If you remember, yes, dear, I remember. Glad. Now, the real reason behind a political party's decline. Okay. So basically guys, this particular article is tracing that how the political parties revive, why political parties fail, and a special reference of Congress party is also being given. Now understand this thing, there are some political references in this article. You are not required to go too much in those political references because they are not very much important for the examination. Okay, so no need to go too much in that political references. So just the academic content of this particular article we are going to see. Okay, now what this particular article talks about, this article says this thing that as we talk about political parties, they often become prisoners of their own history. They often become prisoners of their own history. Now what happens often political parties, now if you see today political parties, what they are doing, if they have to tell their accomplishments, they will tell their historical accomplishments. If they need to criticize the opposition party, they will criticize the historical events that they have done, that in 1980 they did that, in 1990 they did that, in 1950 they did that. That is something which is always focused. Now guys, it has been provided that today when we talk about India's population, you need to understand first of all India's demography. 65% of India's population, it is below the 35 years of age. So it means that these 65 voters, they don't have any personal experiences of the political events that always the political parties are citing. For example, Babri Masjid incident, Babri Masjid incidents, okay, all these Godra and all these incidents. People today who are the voter, they are 65% of voters are below 35 years of age. They don't have a living memory of these incidents. Okay, so this is something that is there. Then so the point is that a political party, a leader should do two things at least. Number one, change the organization structure. Just don't talk about the history. Today's youth, they want to talk on real matters. Okay, so change the organization and change the message. Okay, just don't focus on historical messages now anymore. Okay, now it has been provided that today if we see the political parties, they have declined or they have suffered not from the historical blunders but from the stresses. They are not changing, their narrative, they are not changing their stories. So a leader today requires to do three things. Number one, a leader in a political party need to consolidate the powers and enforce one's will on the party. So it is a more of a Machiavellian view that has been given. Consolidate your power and enforce your will on the party. Effect wholesale change in the organization. Bring a change in organizational structure so that that organization becomes more adaptable, becomes more flexible, and provide new messaging for the party. Just don't talk on history or historical events. Just talk on ideology. Talk on development, talk on those things which today's people need, which today's people want. Okay, so these are some of the things that have been focused, but guys, no need to go too much in the detail. Okay, then moving to next article, a problem of science at the Padma Awards. A problem of science at the Padma Awards. Now see this thing. Guys, if you are preparing for the UPSC examination, most of the parts of this article are not that much important. Why? Because what has happened? They have criticized some of the people who have been given the Padma Awards. It has been said that why these people have been given Padma Awards in science category, they should have been given Padma Awards in the agriculture domain, agriculture stream. So that thing is being done. Now guys, such microscopic analysis of the people who received Padma Award, why he was given in science, why he was not given in agricultural field, not important for examination. But for that basic things, guys, if you remember on Republic Day, we have discussed the Padma Awards, okay, different type of awards that are given under the Padma. So when we talk about the Padma Awards, they are the highest civilian awards. Okay, so first of all, the highest, the most, the award that is in the top of the hierarchy is Bharat Ratna. Bharat Ratna. And after the Bharat Ratna, we have the Padma Awards. And within Padma Awards, we have three: Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, and Padma Shri. So Padma Vibhushan is the first category, Padma Bhushan is after that, and Padma Shri is at the third. Now, when we talk about these Padma Awards, first of all, Padma Vibhushan is given for exceptional and distinguished service. Padma is given for the distinguished service, and Padma Shri is given also for the distinguished service. Okay. Now, when we talk about, guys, these Padma Awards, they are given in social work, public affairs, science and engineering, trade, industry, medicine, literature, education, sports, civil services, etc. Okay. Now, the article is talking about that. Okay, guys, when we talk about the science and engineering category, Science and engineering category. Within science and engineering, there are many subfields that come. For example, mechanical engineering, material science, metallurgy, aeronautics, space science, say space science, plant breeding, okay, all these things. Now, it has been provided that there are some of the article is talking about this particular thing, that basically there are the few people, for example, Charayal K. Raman, okay, fine, he has basically he has been given the Padma award for the preserving rice varieties. 50 type of rice varieties he have preserved. Now article is talking that if he has preserved 50 types of rice varieties, he should has been given the Padma award in agriculture. But why he has been given in science? So this analysis is being given largely in this article. For exam, do you need to read? No. Please don't waste your time for that particular thing. Your time is very precious. Please save it. Okay. So therefore, though I have given you summary, of this particular thing, if you are interested, you can read, but for exam, not that much important. Okay, and then guys, we come to directly to the next article. Okay. Yes. So the article reads that the channels can stagger content for national importance across programs center. Okay. Now, what is this article all about? So, yes. So basically, guys, what had happened? If you have followed our newspaper analysis regularly, you might be knowing this thing already, but if you haven't followed, not at all a problem, we'll see this thing. So if you remember, guys, a few weeks back, government came with the guidelines for uplinking and downlinking of television channels in India 2022. Now, see this thing. New guidelines came for the TV channels which are operating. Colors TV channel, Z Cinema, Z, or whatever the channels are there. For that, there was the new guidelines came. And as per these new guidelines, it was provided that all the channels, at least for 30 minutes in a day, need to show the content which is showcasing some national themes. Okay. So Information and Broadcasting Ministry provided this particular thing, that a relevant content of national importance is needed to be shown at least for 30 minutes. Now, first of all, what do we understand by the content of national themes? Now, you need to show such programs which will showcase, which will include the theme of education. I will highlight it. Education, spread of literacy, education, theme of education, spread of literacy, agriculture, rural development, health, family welfare, science and technology, welfare of women, weaker sections of society, protection of environment, cultural heritage, national integration. So every channel, be it Colors, be it Star Plus, be it Z Cinema, okay, Z TV, they need to show at least 30 minutes of content on these themes. Where it was provided, it was provided in the, into the guidelines for uplinking and downlinking of television channels. Okay. Now, on this thing, there are two clarifications that have been given by the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. Clarification number one. Now, what the channels can do? Channels can embed this content in their ongoing shows as well. For example, you are watching the Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, and in that show, for 15 minutes, they give you some kind of a social message through their show. So if they have done, that is acceptable. They can integrate these themes within their content as well. Okay, so it is acceptable. Second thing is that they have also provided that the content need not to be of a 30-minute at one stretch. What you can do, you can show some bites of 4, 5, 10 minutes something. So total in 1 month, you need to show 15 hours. You need to show 15 hours of the content on these themes. So what you can do, you can show a 5-minute content, a 5-minute small movie, then let's say some 5-10 minutes, then some 5-10 minutes. So in total, throughout the in staggered manner, 30 minutes of the content can be showcased. So this is the clarification that has been given by the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. Okay, one more thing is, guys, that the ministry have said this thing, that the list that we discussed here, okay, these themes, they are to be shown, but anything which is aligned to this theme can also be included. Okay, so this is, guys, all about it. Okay, so with this we have come to an end to this particular topic. Okay, guys, you are not required to go too much in detail in this particular article. Okay, and now taking the mains practice question. So question reads, millets in PDS are a game changer for combating malnutrition, climate change. Analyze. Okay, now this particular question will be of 10 marks. 10 marks. Okay, GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3. So guys, you can write your answer and how to submit your answers. So if you go to our main Telegram channel, Thinking Palette by Sahil, there you will find a pinned comment. In pinned comment, there is a link of a peer review platform that we have given. So you go there and there you can upload your answer. So other aspirants are also writing and they are doing a really good job there. They are giving their reviews, etc. there. So you can just take it from there. So that is all guys about this session, and with this we come to an end to the today's session. Guys, I hope that you have liked this session. If you have liked, please do hit the like button. Please do subscribe to the channel, and when you leave your lovely comments, it's really heartening to see them every day. So guys, thanks for all the comments that you have left in the videos. I personally read every single comment. Okay, thank you so much guys. Thank you. Please take care of yourself. Okay, can the channels accumulate the hours and broadcast them in the last day of the month? Karthi, first of all, this neither makes a sense for the channels. Why? Because every channel has a slot, they have shows that they are coming. 15 hours they will only show that content, so their entire itinerary can be disturbed. Moreover, total monthly 15 hours and daily 30 minutes are to be ensured.